Right. So in the previous class, we were discussing about morphine and its effects. We came all the way up to acute morphine poisoning, what happens in morphine dependence, how withdrawal occurs, how do you manage addiction. We discussed all of that. Now, also how do you treat acute morphine poisoning? उसको भी अपन देखे थे. Uh, Now coming to some precautions and contraindications of morphine. First of all, because it is a respiratory depressant, avoid it in people who have respiratory depression. Now, that is pretty much logical, but as you know, morphine depresses your respiratory system severely. It will affect the brainstem and it will suppress your respiration. So, if you give it in a patient who already has COPD or asthma, it can get very serious. Okay? Avoid opioids altogether in patients who have any respiratory insufficiency. Bronchospasms might be precipitated. That is another reason for not giving it in patients who have respiratory insufficiency. Children and elderly may neither now. Another important part: don't give it in. Do not use morphine in head injury. So I mean specifically where the patient is having some sort of a road traffic accident wherein there is a proper injury as such. Okay. Uh, यहाँ पर it is contraindicated because morphine increases CSF pressure. ठीक है, significantly increases CSF pressure by retaining carbon dioxide, and as carbon dioxide increases inside your brain or inside your CNS specifically, what will happen is intracranial pressure increases. When the patient is already suffering from a brain injury or they are suffering from a head injury, at that point of time, if you are increasing intracranial pressure even more, there is a higher chance for your brain to get damaged or the patient's brain to get damaged. So it is better to avoid it completely in cases of head injury. What happens is the patient will immediately have respiratory depression, vomiting, meiosis, mental clouding. All of that will occur if you use morphine in patients who have head injury. It can cause hypovolemic shock, okay, which can further decrease blood pressure. So if someone's BP is dipping, वो time पे अगर आप have morphine use करें तो और कम हो जाता blood pressure. ठीक है. And opioids potentiate CNS depressants. Do not use CNS depressant drugs with morphine. ठीक है. uh, for example benzodiazepine है या barbiturates है, any of those CNS depressants, if you give it with opioids, it will further potentiate their effect and you will see increased effect of those CNS depressants. So you might want only a certain amount of CNS depression. You want to achieve certain amount of CNS depression. It will go beyond that. Okay. Another problem is patients who have acute abdomen. Ever heard of acute abdomen? Okay.
No, sir.
Acute abdomen is essentially a emergency condition in which the patient is having either colic or abdominal colic, or there is some severe visceral pain in the patient's abdomen. So there is a serious problem in their abdomen. It might be a rupture of a few abdominal walls, or it might be appendicitis or whatever it is. But when a patient has acute abdomen, you do not know yet what is causing that acute abdomen, and let's suppose during that period of time, to relieve pain, you are giving morphine, or the patient takes morphine during that period of time. It will interfere with the diagnosis of acute abdomen. You will not be able to accurately diagnose where the abdominal pain is arising from and whether or not acute abdomen is occurring altogether. Okay, if the patient is on morphine, what will happen is after a period of time that abdominal pain subsides, at least for a period of time. Okay, that might mask your diagnosis of acute abdomen. You might not be able to diagnose it as acute abdomen. You might only treat it as some abdominal discomfort or abdominal pain. So after the diagnosis, it's better to use morphine, not before the diagnosis. Okay. Then opioid analgesics में और आते हैं pithidine derivatives. So it's an alternative that was developed for morphine because morphine has so many problems with it. Pithidine derivatives. ये पिथिडीन, मेथाडोन, कोडीन, मॉर्फिन पूरे सेम प्लांट से आते हैं. ठीक है, ओपीएम पॉपी जिसको बोलते हैं, वो प्लांट से आप मॉर्फिन एक्सट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं बिकॉज मॉर्फिन एंड ऑल हैव सो मेनी प्रॉब्लम्स. पिथिडीन के डेरिवेटिव्स यूज कर रहे हैं. यू आर नॉट इवन यूजिंग पिथिडीन, यू आर यूजिंग डेरिवेटिव्स ऑफ पिथिडीन. These will specifically include fentanyl and its congeners. So fentanyl रहता है इसमें, 1 second, you have fentanyl, you have sufentanil, second, sufentanil, remifentanil, ठीक है, alpha protein. Loperamide is also included in this. Loperamide is a very common drug that is used for diarrhea. Okay, that also is a pethidine derivative. Anyway, why is fentanyl used compared to morphine? Even though mechanism of action is very similar, it will act on the same opioid receptors and it will cause analgesia. But there are some significant advantages of fentanyl over morphine. Okay, first of all, it is 100 times more potent as an analgesic than morphine. Okay, 100 times more potent as an analgesic compared to morphine, and it will get absorbed very quickly. It is very highly lipid soluble, because of which it'll the maximum effect of the drug can be seen within 5 minutes of administration. Okay, it does not cause as significant CVS effects. Because morphine has significant CVS effects, it will severely depress BP and heart rate. This fellow will not cause as much. ठीक है, थोड़ा कम होता but उतना नहीं होता. It does not increase intracranial pressure. It does not release histamine. That is a big advantage. Doesn't release histamine. So you can give it in patients who have asthma or any inflammatory respiratory condition as such. Because 1 second, whenever you are giving something like morphine in patients who have asthma या COPD, उनके अंदर respiratory depression तो होता ही है, but other than that, because there are so many histamines released as a result of morphine use, it can trigger a bronchospasm. ठीक है, a lot of morphine will cause bronchoconstriction and sometimes it can even trigger a bronchospasm. That is why if you are using what you call pethidine, it does not release histamine, so it is safer to use in patients who have asthma, COPD, or any respiratory condition for that matter. Then fentanyl is used for a special type of analgesia called neurolept analgesia. Neurolept analgesia. So neurolept analgesia is a combination of giving a analgesic like fentanyl and using a neuroleptic drug such as droperidol. Neuroleptic drugs will change, how should I put it? They will change your CNS function. They will kind of depress your CNS function. So the effect that you get ultimately when you produce neurolept analgesia in a patient where you are giving fentanyl and droperidol together, droperidol being the neuroleptic drug, the patient will be sedated. The patient will have intense analgesia. They will not feel pain altogether, but they will not lose their consciousness. Without loss of consciousness, you are causing a lot severe analgesia. You are making sure that the patient is not feeling any pain altogether, and the patient is slightly sedated as well. Now the patient will be drowsy, but they'll be able to respond to commands. Okay, they might not be able to do any how should I put it, cognitively intensive tasks. So for example, if you give them any special for example, if you ask them what is 25 into 25, or if you ask them what is cognitive intensive task where they have to think a lot, वो नहीं कर सकते, but they will be able to comply with simple commands. ठीक है, and neurolept analgesia can be maintained for 30 to 40 minutes, so you can use it in replacement of a local anesthetic. Any procedures where you are using a local anesthetic, वो प्रोसीजर्स के बदले में आप वो प्रोसीजर्स में आप न्यूरोलेप्ट एनाल्जेसिया यूज कर सकते हैं, स्मॉल सर्जरीज और स्टिचिंग एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट, नॉट स्टिचिंग बट स्मॉल सर्जरीज, एंडोस्कोपी, थिंग्स लाइक दैट. एपिड्यूरल दे रहे हैं आप, ऑब्स्टेटिक एनाल्जेसिया क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, वो पूरा में फेंटानल अच्छा काम करता. The main adverse effect that occurs with fentanyl is muscle rigidity. ठीक है, that is a very specific adverse effect that occurs with fentanyl. I don't think you came across drugs that caused muscle rigidity till now, but fentanyl is a drug that causes muscle rigidity. Keep that in mind. Okay. For a period of time, the patient will not be able to move properly. You can avoid this if you are not giving a bolus dose. If you give IV or subcutaneous injection, it will be better. If you give it in a bolus dose, फेंटानिल विल कॉज मसल रिजिडिटी, ठीक है, ओरल डोज अगर दिया आप या बोलस से वजह दिया तो। Anyway, then we have opioid antagonists. So we discussed what are opioid agonists and how they work. You have pentazocine as well, but it works the same way, so I'm not going to discuss that. Just slightly more better, compared to morphine in and pethidine in certain situations, and in certain situations it is worse as well. But again, it is pretty much the same, so there's no point in discussing that. We'll discuss about opioid antagonists. Opioid antagonists. So these are drugs that are given in case of opioid poisoning. Okay. Specifically, we have a drug called naloxone. So let us suppose you are giving morphine to a patient, and by chance the patient went into a state of poisoning. You gave way too much amount of dose, or the patient was very sensitive. Sometimes even at normal doses, the patient will start showing symptoms of toxicity. This can happen if the patient is oversensitive. Sometimes okay, it can happen. In any scenario, यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा, आप पेशेंट को मॉर्फिन पॉइजनिंग हो रही, तो आप immediately you'll have to give an antidote. That antidote is naloxone. This naloxone is a competitive inhibitor, or it's a competitive antagonist for all the three opioid receptors. What does that mean? Let's suppose this is the receptor. Suppose this is a cell, or let me put it this way. It's working on a neuron, right? Let us suppose this is the neuron terminal end. ठीक है, यहाँ पर you have receptors of alpha, sorry, mu kappa and delta, जो परसों कल बोला था मैं, mu kappa and suppose delta receptors है. These receptors will light up or they will get stimulated when you are using something like morphine. Naloxone will compete with morphine for that same site. So before morphine can go and attach to these receptors, or even if it has already attached to these receptors, morphine will literally displace that morphine molecule. Specifically, it will compete for that same site with morphine molecule. As such, it is called a competitive antagonist of all the three opioid receptors, because of which the effects of morphine can be reversed very quickly. Okay, so especially respiratory depression and sedation, that will get withdrawn very quickly, or that will get reversed very quickly. And whenever you use naloxone, especially in case of addicts, it will cause withdrawal symptoms. If you give it in a normal person who is not addicted to morphine or who has never taken morphine as well, it will not cause any problem and no effect altogether. But if you use it in patients who how should I put it, who are what do you call having who are addicted to morphine, वो situation में it will cause withdrawal symptoms. So the patient will have autonomic symptoms and all of that, sweating, vomiting, fever and all of that. ठीक है. Now, if you give it orally, it generally undergoes first pass metabolism. ठीक है, it will work for about 3 to 4 hours. You give a very small dose. IV दे सकते हैं इसलिए, because it is undergoing first pass metabolism. Duration of action will decrease if you give it orally. If you give it IV, it will be better. IV दिए तो duration of action will be 3 to 4 hours. Okay, it can reverse neonatal asphyxia. Where you use naloxone is especially neonatal asphyxia hoga due to opioid poisoning. Sometimes what happens is, let's suppose during labor, when the mother is going into labor, let's suppose you use any opioids like morphine or something, morphine itself or something like morphine. I told you, if a mother is addicted, the child will come with the symptoms of addiction. Now, if you use morphine in labor, what will happen is the child might not be able to breathe properly. There will be apnea, and the baby might have asphyxia. They might not be able to breathe altogether. तो वो कंडीशन में आप अगर naloxone दिए तो it will reverse the effect of morphine. ठीक है, I'll repeat once again. Let us suppose there is a mother who is undergoing labor, and you are using opioid antagonists opioid analgesics in those patients, in that mother, like morphine. What will happen is, the baby that comes out, that baby will have asphyxia. There is a chance that the baby will have neonatal asphyxia. तो उसको रिवर्स करने के लिए you can use naloxone. ठीक है, you can also use naloxone for opioid dependence, to find out opioid dependence or not. Now sometimes what happens is, let us suppose there is a patient who is addicted to morphine. ठीक है. Now you will never find addicts admitting that they are addicts. Okay. For example, let's suppose you have a chain smoker in your family. Example. More often than not, at least 80% of the time, if you ask them, "Are you a chain smoker?" they will tell no. I just smoke occasionally or I smoke socially. They will never tell that they are addicted to nicotine, or they will never tell that they are a chain smoker. The same thing goes for any other addict as well. People who are addicted to morphine, they will never admit that they are addicted to morphine. Okay. You might not even tell that they take morphine altogether. So how do you find out? Let us suppose, let's suppose there is a husband and wife, and let us suppose either one of them is addicted to morphine, wife or husband, whoever is addicted. The other partner is taking them to a hospital to get them checked, and to get them rehabilitated, without telling them that. Now obviously, if let's suppose the husband is addicted to morphine or any drug for that matter, if you try to take them to the hospital, they'll generally not come. They'll deny the partner, saying that no, I'm not addicted to morphine or this thing. They'll tell you, you're just wasting your money and my time and this thing and that thing. They'll make excuses essentially. So what you can do is, okay, let's go for a general checkup and all. Okay, आप लेके जा रहे हैं and you're telling the doctor beforehand that I think my husband is, I think my significant other is addicted to a certain drug or to morphine or whatever it is. ठीक है. So at that time, what a doctor can do is they can give naloxone to the patient. Let us suppose the patient is morphine addicted. Okay. Let us suppose they are addicted to morphine. As soon as you give naloxone, within a few minutes you will start seeing withdrawal symptoms in the patient. ठीक है. You कोई भी बहाना बना के दे सकते हैं, विटामिन है या ये है वो है बोल के आप naloxone दे सकते हैं. I'm not telling you to deceive them, but in this scenario it is beneficial for them. ठीक है. When you give naloxone to these patients, immediately withdrawal symptoms will be precipitated, and it will help you diagnose the patient as opioid dependent or opioid addicted. ठीक है. I hope you understood the the logic here. यहाँ पर you are not exactly telling the patient that they are addicted, you are proving it to the patient that they are addicted by giving naloxone. ठीक है. अगर withdrawal symptoms आए तो patient addicted है. If there is no reaction altogether, the patient either does not take morphine altogether, or it is not a significant amount where they are addicted. ठीक है. Even छोटा अमाउंट भी रहा तो मॉर्फिन का बॉडी में इमीडिएटली विड्रॉल सिम्टम्स आना शुरू होते, थोड़े थोड़े आते. मे बी नॉट एज प्रोनाउंस, बट सर्टन सिम्टम्स विल बी शोन. Generally, if the patient does not take any morphine or any opioid analgesics as such, they will not have any effects. ठीक है. So that is that. If a patient is having hypotension due to shock, अगर morphine लिए या कोई और um, opioid analgesic लिए, and as a result of that the patient is having hypotension or they are going to shock because of opioid use, at that time also you can reverse the effects of that hypotension by using naloxone. Okay. Now, coming to nursing implications of opioid analgesics, some very important points that you have to remember. First of all, when a patient is on an opioid analgesic, whether it be codeine, morphine, pethidine, uh, whatever it is, fentanyl, make sure that you are monitoring the patient's respiratory rate. Okay? If the patient's RR falls below 14, immediately inform the doctor. ठीक है. Normally their respiration will be slightly depressed, that is fine. 16 तक रहा तो चलता. ठीक है. Normally it should be about 20-22, right? In patients who are taking opioid analgesics थोड़ा कम रहता. So 18-16 is fine. Now when it falls below 14, immediately intimate the doctor that the patient is failing their respiration. Then watch out for tolerance. ठीक है. When you keep giving opioid analgesics, there is a chance that the patient will get they'll develop tolerance. You will see this when the patient will need higher doses for the same effect. Okay. Let us suppose the patient is complaining of pain and you are giving 1 mg of morphine subcutaneously initially. Okay. Over a period of time, that 1 mg will not suffice to produce the same analgesic effect. Let's suppose within 4 weeks or 5 weeks, you might have to increase it to 2 mg. That is indicative of tolerance. The patient is developing tolerance to the drug. So as a result, it is better to switch the drug. दूसरा drug use करना better है, या combination of दूसरे drug use करना better है. Then there is something called patient controlled analgesia. Have you ever heard of this? Patient controlled analgesia. Generally cancer patients को, stage 4 cancer patients को, or patients who have severe debilitating pain, some chronic condition, उन लोगों को रहता. Patient controlled analgesia कभी देखे या सुने?
No, sir.
No. अच्छा. So in certain hospitals, patients who have such debilitating condition and debilitating pain, what the hospital management will do is they will put a drip of morphine beside them, and they will be able to control the flow of morphine according to their own pain. Now obviously even the maximum amount that they can let in into their body will only be therapeutically maximum. So you'll make sure that before you're giving PCA to a patient, they are not going into toxic doses. Okay, but still whenever you are giving a patient controlled dialysis, essentially they can control how much dose they'll be able to administer to themselves. ठीक है, एक IV drip लगा देते हैं and they can control the wheel through which they can control the amount of dose that is coming into their body. Now even if they put it on maximum, there is a limit to which how much morphine can be given. So monitor the patient for the symptoms of overdosage. In patient controlled analgesia, if the patient is continuously on higher doses, there is a chance that the patient might go into overdose. As a result, you have to make sure that you immediately are ready for any emergency condition. Keep naloxone ready and be ready for any emergency condition, especially respiratory depression and cardiovascular collapse. ये दो पहले hit होते हैं, ठीक है. Now that concludes our opioid analgesics. Now coming to the other part of analgesics, I told you analgesics may you have opioid analgesics and there are NSAIDs, non-opioid analgesics specifically. Non-opioid analgesics may the main one that will come is NSAIDs. NSAIDs stand for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So यहाँ पर think of it this way, these are drugs that will not cause addiction. They will obviously not be as powerful as opioid analgesics. They are not steroidal. Okay, morphine, pethidine, codeine, all of those, they have a steroidal nucleus in them. That is also one of the reasons why they are so strong. Okay, these are non-steroidal drugs, and their specific aim is to act as an anti-inflammatory drug. Okay, they will also decrease pain to a certain extent. They will decrease body temperature as well, but यहाँ पर they are non-steroidal. They'll not be as strong as those, but they will be strong enough for normal general conditions. ठीक है. These are drugs that are similar to aspirin. Actually, aspirin is the poster boy of NSAIDs. ठीक है. How morphine was the poster boy of opioid analgesics, the same way aspirin is the main drug that will come under NSAIDs. पूरों का mechanism of action same रहता. So I'll discuss one aspirin. बाहे के आप see the other drugs कैसा है, depending on how well they are working, they are used differently in certain conditions. For example, certain ones are used in specific inflammatory conditions, or certain ones are used in specific autoimmune conditions. But in any scenario, the mechanism of action of all of these will remain the same. Okay, it's just that their uses, their PK/PD parameters and their adverse effects will change. So there's no point in discussing all of them. We'll discuss one of them, and बाकी के आप include कर सकते, because there'll be 7 different classes. Technically there are 2 main classes, 3 main classes, and the first class will have 7 main classes, 7 subclasses under them. So there's a lot of drugs. This is based on the structure. That is how you get so many classes. मैकेनिज्म ऑफ एक्शन के बेस पे करें तो एक ही क्लास रहती, पूरे एक ही क्लास में आ जाते. बट based on the structure you have 3. Anyway, these drugs, specifically aspirin, they will have anti-inflammatory effect, as the name suggests. They will have an antipyretic effect. Antipyretic effect means any drugs that decreases your body temperature, and to a certain degree they will also have uricosuric effects. They will cause excretion of uric acid from your body. Okay, as a result, they can also be used as gout suppressant drugs indirectly. Okay, they increase the secretion of uric acid out of your body, and they can be used as uricosuric drugs in certain scenarios, not always. Anyway, now coming to the classification of drugs, the first main class that will come will be non-selective COX inhibitors. I'll explain in a bit what is COX and why is it important. Non-selective COX inhibitors. Then second class रहती preferential COX-2 inhibitors. COX-2 inhibitors. And the third class will be selective COX-2 inhibitors. Okay. Now, the most of the drugs in the NSAIDs will fall in this category, non-selective ones. Okay. I'll explain what is COX and why it is important. So, COX essentially is the abbreviation of an enzyme called cyclooxygenase. Cyclooxygenase has two forms, COX-1 and COX-2. ठीक है. So imagine cyclooxygenase एक family का नाम है जिसमें दो cousins है. COX-1 एक cousin है and COX-2 एक cousin है. COX-1 की एक family है, not cousins. Let's suppose there are two brothers. ठीक है, in a family there are two brothers, COX-1 and COX-2, and both of them have their own family. ठीक है, you will have other enzymes and under them as well, but essentially these two are the main uh, cyclooxygenase enzymes. ये secrete कहाँ से होते? Now, if you remember, when we are discussing about inflammation in pathology, I told you that whenever there is tissue damage or any cellular level damage, arachidonic acid will be liberated. So phospholipids get damaged, and as a result, whenever phospholipid gets damaged, phospholipase A बोल के एक molecule रहता. Phospholipase A is essentially an enzyme that is responsible for conversion of those damaged phospholipids or damaged cell components into arachidonic acid. ठीक है. Phospholipase A बोल के एक enzyme रहता cells पे. Almost all cells will have phospholipase A. That is a cell surface level enzyme. ठीक है. So it will be attached on the surface of the cell. Let's suppose this is a cell. Here will be phospholipase A. ठीक है. This fellow, its function is to convert cell debris or damaged cellular components into arachidonic acid. So let's suppose there is a bacteria that is coming inside the cell, or there is any sort of damage to the cell. Okay. Let us suppose there is damage to this area of the cell. Okay. So what happens is, obviously when there is damage, there will be cell debris. Certain components of the cell will be broken down and they will come out. Phospholipase A will convert those, let's suppose these small red dots represent cell debris. These will be converted into arachidonic acid by phospholipase A, PLA, specifically PLA2 रहता हो, phospholipase A2. Now, why is this important? Arachidonic acid will further undergo another reaction. Technically, it will undergo two different types of reactions. Agar it is getting acted upon by cyclooxygenase, whether it be COX-1 or COX-2, ठीक है, different locations में different cyclooxygenase involved होता, but mostly in inflammatory processes COX-2 is involved. ठीक है, COX-1 is present in most cell, or it is found in most cell, and it is responsible for tissue homeostasis. COX-1 is very important. COX-2 on the other hand is induced by inflammatory cells. Whenever there is inflammation occurring, whenever there is cell damage occurring, that is when COX-2 is released. Anyway, whenever cyclooxygenase acts on arachidonic acid, this fellow gets converted into prostaglandins. ठीक है, prostaglandins E1, E2, बहुत अलग अलग types of prostaglandins है. Whereas if arachidonic acid gets affected by LOX, lipoxygenase, it gets converted into leukotrienes. ठीक है, this is a different mediator of inflammation, but both of them are mediators of inflammation. This class is about to end. I'll send you other link. We'll continue the discussion in that class.